Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for March 27th to April 3rd, 2023. Wow, what a year it's turning out to be, huh? We're getting an energy, a feel for what this year is about with this current astrology. Right now, we're feeling Mercury in Aries going over Jupiter and then Chiron. Jupiter or Chiron, excuse me, first, then Jupiter. Chiron on the 27th, and then Jupiter on the 28th. We'll be feeling the influence of this. Mercury's moving pretty quick right now. So, just over the next few days, the first part of this week, but it's very activating because for the whole month of March and even into the last part of February, we've been feeling the Jupiter Chiron conjunction. And so Mercury going over is activating this and bringing forward this Jupiter Chiron connection, this expansion of life force, this desire for freedom, this fiery activation of personal empowerment. Now, this energy will continue. We'll just feel Mercury going over this for the next couple of days, but then the sun will be going over Chiron and Jupiter in April. So we'll start feeling that and about the 3rd of April, and the sun will be going over Chiron or first Jupiter on the 13th, and then Chiron on excuse me, first Chiron on the 6th and Jupiter on the 13th. And so this is going to mark the whole energy of April. Because now the sun is catching up. Now the sun is our personal identity, who we think we are. It means it's hitting home. The Jupiter Chiron conjunction, and we've got Jupiter cruising through Aries. Jupiter is already coming to 17 degrees, is already at 17 degrees Aries, and we'll make it to 19 degrees this week. So there's this energy. Now we have all planets still direct, but not for very much longer. And there's this like fire in the belly. If there's something that you need to do to act on, it's like the energy might come now, and the clarity could come too. In this next couple of days with Mercury over Chiron and Jupiter, there might be some clarity around this whole last couple of months of astrology, and actually Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. So everything that's been coming up, and then that includes the Mars retrograde, right? So there's kind of like the last 6 months of astrology and energy of maybe one little flash of light, bringing a little bit of clarity around where you're at and where you're going. But the main thing with the astrology, especially last month's astrology, and we're coming out of it with all that Pisces explosion, there's this feeling like, ooh, where I'm going is not where I thought I was headed. And it's just this feeling of complete unknown, and it's so disconcerting, and it's so hard to not know. But there's also magic in the air. This is really, really important, um, because we had all that. We had Mars and square to the Sun, Mercury, Neptune, and Pisces, and this is an identity crisis, bringing us like basically shaking the energy, immutable signs, shaking the energy of our life structures, our plans, our everything, and kind of bringing us back to our core of what really matters, which is really important. But it's like letting go of everything that you thought, once again, right when you were starting to get a grip. And this is the energy where we have to understand that now that Saturn is in Pisces, it's a very different energy. And we also have the year of the water rabbit, and Mars just moved over into the sign of Cancer. So the year of the water rabbit has this energy of a completely different way of navigating in the world. And indeed, when you find out that where you thought you were going isn't at all where you're going, and you have no idea where you're going, then this is when you come to this place of a radical change in your way of operating in the world. And it's about being present with what is and being incredibly acutely present. So the rabbit wins the race by staying alive And by being completely present and aware and knowing when it's time to run, when it's time to retreat, and listening and being connected to the energies to be able to navigate. Because it's an interesting thing where it's like you'll go to make a plan, and then the energies will shift within the next 24 hours, and then by the next day that plan isn't working anymore. This is where we're at. So we got to be completely present, not with the future plans, but with the now. Not that we're letting go of the future, because with Saturn and Pisces, we have an incredible opportunity and energy for dreaming a new dream, for establishing a new reality based more on the truth of who we are. And that would make sense why it's all falling apart. So, Saturn is our manifest reality and the laws and rules of that reality. But in Pisces, it's like the unknown collective consciousness, watery, like subconscious. And it's also a mutable sign, which is about changing and shifting. So we've got like changing and shifting water as the basis of our reality. Get it? Because our reality is not what we thought it was. So we have to start moving in a totally different way. And that in itself opens the path to the dream. See, it's really uncomfortable to be in the unknown, into the primordial energy of creation, which is where we're being asked to be. Who knows what's coming next? You don't want to know because it could be more amazing than you could even conceive of, but it's not comfortable. And so it's this like really very dramatic, sudden shift into a completely new way of existing and manifesting and moving. So we're in this place learning how to co-create, learning how to adjust our lives, learning how to read the energies, use our will, align our will with the spiritual forces of our truth, but then let our actions have room to breathe, the ripple go out, and see how the universe responds before we go and take our next step. But we've been doing the old way, is just to push forward with our lower will forces. And this won't work anymore. And this is a huge energy of what's going on. Everything with this Chiron, Jupiter, Aries explosion energy is about a fight for our freedom. And we know that we have to claim our autonomy as humans in order to move over into the Aquarian age. This is required. And this is the whole dramatic shift that we're in. Because we know that we're the Aquarian age and our evolution moving forward. Nothing can stop us coming back into and receiving back the technology that is ours, our free energy. But how can we receive back this abundance and these blessings if we're still leaking our energy out? And this is what's coming up. You are being shown supernovas. We are being shown all of the little hairline fractures in our field where we're still loyal to lower energies. And that's typically through the relationship energies around us and our relationship with society, technology, everything. Ooh, it's so intense right now. But this is our ultimate test. Now we're starting to understand what Mars and Gemini retrograde was really about, because we got this. This is an initiation. This is a preparation. Now, stuff is getting so intense in Supernova Soul's life, pushing us into the core level shift. Now, as we look at this, we're talking about getting out of relationships and contracts where we've been allowing our energy to be used, outside energies to be in control of our energy, right? It's everywhere in our world on all levels of society. We're seeing it now in a tyrannical financial control, really scary stuff. But we know that this is in our own mind and in our own psyche that we claim our freedom. That's the powerful thing about Mercury, like whoosh through and going very fast over these next couple of days over Chiron and Jupiter and activating this. The message is awaken to your power, take back your mind. We're saying it's no longer appropriate. We know we're the highest form of authority as a soul in a human body. We're going to claim this authority. And by claiming that authority, that means that no outside forces have control over our thoughts, mind, or emotion. All the implants, all the manipulation, all the EMFs, electromagnetic harassment, all has to stop now. But then are you ready to be free? Right? So we're having major anxiety coming up because we feel the imminent changes. We feel this freedom calling us, but can we handle it? Are we ready to be free? Because we've been controlled, very much controlled and targeted. What we're realizing, supernova souls, is like who we really are. This is where we need to start start putting our focus is not like on the harassment and the targeting and the battle over our energies, but like, why were we targeted in the first place? And it's like, okay, well, the story is that the only way for the controllers to take control of human evolution was to subdue us. That means, is this what it means? Because we've been told again and again that we're on the front lines, we're on the cutting edge of spiritual ascension, we're leading the way for humanity. And so it's about us standing up and taking back our power and our control. And then humanity can take back their control from the controllers. But we got to think about this whole control energy, because what's happening right now with all this Pisces energy and that crazy square of Sun Mars, it's like Hall of Mirrors. And a lot of us are realizing how much we've been living in a Hall of Mirrors, how much we have been broken into pieces through the trauma we've experienced and allowed ourselves to live a fracture of the truth of who we are. At the same time, this Hall of Mirrors is playing out in the people around us, where we're like, ooh, a huge bloom of this energy, but that's also in us, or it's something that we've been entertaining. And it's like, it feels impossible sometimes, just like all forces working against who you are and what you're trying to do, and just the power and the energy it takes right now to exist in this world and try to find some peace of mind. Well, that must mean that peace of mind is our greatest weapon, actually. I mean, not a weapon even, it's, you know, a tool. So we've got to keep that in mind, because the anxiety is growing, because we're moving into this Pluto square the nodes. This is like the nodes. Pluto is about fate and destiny, and the nodes are about fate and destiny. And the conjunction or the square with the nodes happens at 0 degrees Aquarius, just barely. But after Pluto goes back into Capricorn, the nodes moving backwards, moving into Aries. North node Aries, south node Libra. So this is just an epic turning of the tide. And if you ask me, it's about getting rid of the moon entirely and getting rid of this hold, this chokehold of fate, of control on humanity. But we have to look at this energy of control, because supernova souls are waking up to where they've been allowing themselves, so they didn't realize it, to be controlled. Because our naivety, our service, our love, our devotion, our care, our compassion has been hijacked and used against us again and again to take our energy and keep us in lower vibrational realities. And it's really interesting, because the control concept, if we are going to take back control from the controllers, we must have given up, when we allowed them to take control, what's been coming up so much we've been talking about, which this is the Taurus activation that's coming with Mercury moving into Taurus and getting ready for a retrograde. There's this massive, and the nodes finishing up in Taurus. So this powerful energy around whether or not we deserve or are worthy of our energetic abundance, because Uranus represents these higher frequency vibrations. This higher technology. It represents the technology that's ours, available through our body and the mechanisms of our energetic field and connection to our higher self and Mother Earth. So there's this massive activation of our self-worth. And it's kind of like when the nodes come to the end of the signs, so they'll be switching signs in the end of July, right when Venus takes that retrograde in Leo. Ooh, it's such an intense year, but this is what's coming forward. Clarity around what 2023 is really about. This empowerment of the feminine, taking the feminine out of the darkness, shining a light on what's been keeping the feminine in the darkness and keeping us believing that the feminine is dark. because we allowed our divine feminine, our help, our healing, our love to be burned at the stake. And we just stood there and watched. And so we are having a redemption time coming. And this is this Black Moon Lilith in Leo. It's all of the darkness, the hidden darkness that keeps the feminine from coming back into the light, because we were told she was dark. And so she was hidden. Well, what that meant is she was controlled, right? It was all just about controlling her. And then she's a possession of the controllers. And the feminine magic is held captive and persecuted again and again, and told as humanity's programmed to believe that all that's feminine and nature and love and the mother and compassion and connection is something wrong, bad, and evil. So when we, as humanity and personally as souls, when we allowed this level of control, which we kind of had to agree to this just to get here, we had to, we kind of had to make contracts with these control energies just to incarnate here. So it's a little bit sticky, because we're kind of, now we have to go back and be like, excuse me, we're going to need to alter this contract. I was under duress and manipulated into this agreement, So we all agreed not to come into our power. On some level, we had to. It feels like that's kind of the message. But now we take back control. We know that this is the only way the story can go. But it's interesting to look at how when we gave over control, the message is that we also gave over our connection to source, to love, to feeling that this world can hold us and take care of us, right? Because now they're in control. See how it was work? Now, the other weird thing that happened for supernova souls, though, is that when we allowed this external control, we, as conscious, aware, advanced souls that have come here in service and love for humanity, we tried to take control. We tried to do everything we could to stop what was happening. And we started playing God. And that's why we're here stuck in this mess. So we're in a really tricky situation. And this is part of the Aries magic, because Aries is about your fire, your light, your connection to your own life force, to your own power, and where it's been stolen from us and taking it. So it's about freedom and taking back all of our energy from those outside control forces. But in true freedom, we have to realize that the responsibility we felt, these are the contracts coming up. It might be with groups, with your family members, individuals, like the collective, energies of organizations, countries. You could have all these feelings of responsibility. That came when you gave up control and then you started playing God. So it's like we've got to just rewrite the story. And that's exactly what's happening with the nodes of fate, with this whole energy. And so with that incredibly powerful nodes square to Pluto, just as Pluto goes back into Capricorn and the nodes move into Aries, 29 degrees Aries, and then at 28 degrees Aries. So 29 degrees Capricorn in Aries, 28 degrees Capricorn in Aries. This, if you have the N degrees of cardinal signs, this year is just like, basically it's the end of you being blocked and the beginning of you starting. So it's such powerful medicine and energy, because it all comes back to this reclaiming the light of the feminine, which is literally free energy. It's the energy in our body, the ancient mysteries and the wisdom in our very own body that we've already worked with in incarnations in ancient Egypt and Atlantean time. We've already embodied this energy, and yet they've got us scared shitless of stepping into it. We're here just poised on the edge and allowing the fear energy to keep us in quarantine, even though the gates have been opened. And this is what this Aries is about. So it's very powerful. We've got Mercury. It's kind of like, oh, I made it through that Chiron activation. I don't really need to make those big changes I thought maybe I needed to make or whatever, And then it's like, Mercury going over is like flash of light. It's just this lightning bolt energy of this fire. It's like kind of when the fire went out, and you can still see the coals, there's a little bit, and then, you stoke the fire, add more wood, and then, when that And it might just be short-lived, right? I mean, a little bit left, or it's just new flame, new fuel, new fuel. So we're more and more grabbing hold of this energy in our body, which is the feminine coming back to light, us claiming our own power, our permission, and our worthiness, right? So what we're finding, so Mercury is moving into Taurus on April 4th, and then will go into retrograde shadow on April 7th, 5 degrees Taurus, take a retrograde on April 21st, 15 degrees Taurus, and then retrograde back to 5 degrees Taurus, turn direct on the 15th of May, 5 5, 5 5. And then come back out of retrograde shadow on June 1st. And that's really powerful because then, now this Mercury retrograde in Taurus between 5 and 15. So if you've got between 5 and 15 of fixed signs, you're also getting very powerful activation in this next couple of months. It's about 2-month period of time for this retrograde energy, which again, it doesn't start until the first week of April, but we're inching into it. And so to be aware that it's coming, because we have all planets direct and a massive fire activation now. It's like, now's the time to take the leap and really move with the energies and be brave. And then this retrograde, Mercury retrograde in Taurus, 5 degrees, it's 1 degree away from the North Node. 15 degrees, it's 1 degree away from Uranus. And so we've got this dance, Mercury going into retrograde shadow over the nodes, or over the North Node. And then going and meeting up almost with Uranus, then retrograding back to the nodes, almost a conjunction with the nodes, before turning direct. And so during that time, retrograde is also going to be making 3 squares with Black Moon Lilith in Leo. And that will be at 10 degrees, 12 degrees, and 15 degrees. So again, that 5 to 15, but especially 10 to 15 degrees of fixed signs, really want to look out at how that's going to be affecting your chart. So Mercury square, so Mercury between conjunction with the North Node, conjunction with Uranus, which is like this whole energy of this Taurus activation is about higher frequency vibrations coming into our body, into the earth. Can we claim them? Do we deserve them? Do we feel worthy of her love in our life again? And then North Node and Taurus, exactly like the only way forward is for us to come back into receiving mode. How can we do this when we feel that, first of all, we allowed ourselves to be disconnected. And then we try to play God and try to make it all better and got ourselves mired in all kinds of karmic conundrum, you know? And then we bought on the shame. We took on the shame because we all played out the divine, intuitive, feminine, what male or female body, we all did, and we all were persecuted for it. And then we got stuck in victim hiding in the dark. And that's what's hidden is also covered in shame. So we're bringing our intuitive light back to light. And it's so powerful. But that Mercury retrograde is all about our permission, havingness, our worthiness, coming back into dropping all those stories and knowing that our only true place is in connection with her. And that, yes, we have to relinquish these outside control energies. We can't move into that abundant blessings, because we got this message that in the law of the universe, if humanity takes back control of the controllers, they get repaid with abundance of what was stolen. Energy comes back. And if we don't feel we deserve that, like right now in our lives, we say we're supernova souls are cutting the cords, the contracts, and yet hovering in the energy of them because they're more scared from being, more scared of the abundance that's coming than the control keeping them from it. And this is what we're working out with the Mercury in retrograde in Taurus. It's like that self-worth for our higher frequency vibration and for a new direction. It's everything. And I know I can just feel that it's playing out in all supernovas' lives and in our unique way. But anyway, right now we've got this Venus, the other thing that's happening Very mystical, magical end of March into April, because Mars is yesterday moved over into Cancer on the 26th. And that means that Mars is now in a trine with Saturn at 2 degrees. So they'll come in exact to the trine at 2 degrees, which is a number of cooperation, of working together. And this is about living the dream and claiming the dream and claiming the abundance and being in the energy of it. Because Mars in Cancer is about the warrior coming back to the mother, understanding that, oh my God, I can't believe we let her be burned at the stake. And on the other hand, we've got this powerful message that with this huge activation in Aries, that the feminine and the whole story of Venus conjunct Black Moon Lilith and going on this retrograde in Leo, it's like, it's very clear that as much as we let our feminine be disgraced and we allowed it to happen, right? Doesn't mean that we can save her. She can only save herself, right? The power in her is so great. She's the only one who can take it back. Nobody can give it back to her. And they're not going to give it back to us because they're enjoying it way too much. She's got to get strong. She's got to stand up. Then we can come to her aid, you know, and reclaim our queen. But right now, it's like she's got to set herself free. Nobody can do it for her. Otherwise, she's going to find herself right back in prison. I know we can all relate to this. It's this Stockholm syndrome. We're all in. So, very powerful energies. And so, just focusing on right now, we've got this Mercury coming up to Jupiter, to Chiron, and then Jupiter in the next couple of days. We're going to feel that through Wednesday into Thursday. And then we move into an energy of Venus in her home sign of Taurus, now coming up to Uranus. So this is really powerful because Mercury's whole retrograde is all about dancing with Uranus, but not making it to that activation. Because that when Mercury does make it to Uranus, that's on the 5th of June. There's this incredible like the Earth Kundalini energy has been rising and activating, but we haven't been able to be a part of it and receive it and feel worthy of it. We're scared of it. Just like everybody's been scared of her, you know? And so that there's a powerful energy of receiving our Kundalini awakening, the earth receiving, and we are, us receiving, being a part of it. Very powerful energies when Mercury comes up to Uranus on June 5th. But right now, Venus is coming up to Uranus in her home sign here. So this is the beginning of the energy. And all of the things coming up of like, really? What's holding me back isn't that bullshit control and that person who wants to mess with me and this energy that's always interfering. It's my own worthiness of whether I think I deserve the abundance that has to come because of the law of the universe when you break your ties with external control. And then how is that tied up into how we took on control and played God and then felt like a failure because we couldn't fix it? And are carrying all this failure, carrying all this pain of just back to Atlantean time of all of the dark shit that the controllers have done, blaming ourselves, making it our problem, holding on to this grief and this energy that we could never process because it's not our own. So this is the interesting thing because it's like we're taking back our power. We're taking back our control. We talked about how our third chakra has been deactivated as supernova souls. When we were programmed to fear our own power, our third chakra is our raw exercise of power, movement of energy in the world. But we shut that down when we were like, whoa, somehow I got into all this karma. I don't want to create any more karma. And we kind of disengaged. And now we're taking back our power, but the energy is like, we can't take back this energy and this abundance while we're leaking it out to external forces because we can't honor, we can't be given these spiritual gifts back, take back our spiritual gifts and then leak them out to controllers or to energy, to entities and, outside of us because that's not like tending and honoring the sacred energy. That's our gift of creation. We have to contain it. We have to own it. And we've been stuck in these contractual arrangements of feeling responsible because we thought we were playing God. And now we got these weird responsibility contracts with people who don't want to move on any level and don't give a shit. And we're still waiting around thinking that it's our job to help them. And so this is so powerful because we're recognizing that as we take back our power, we immediately have to give it all up. We have to make sure this is our initiation, pushing us into the place where we make sure where our loyalties lie, and that our energy is only going into alignment. We can see the feeding frenzy that's going on right now. And it's so intense and predatory right now out there in the world, but it's pushing us into this center way, into this Christ consciousness. It's into our center, into a full alignment with the divine. We're being forced, this is our initiation, forced to completely own our energy and begin to activate our third chakra again, but only in alignment with the highest divine and our higher self, but in full conviction, because we don't have choice. We can't be wishy-washy, right? This is what this time is about. It is a spiritual initiation. We are in the wilderness and we have to take our power back by ourselves. Nobody is going to hand it back to us. Be like, oh, sorry for all you've gone through. They're not sorry. They like it. They feed on our misery, you know? And this is our whole part of the whole deal we're waking up to is like, oh, so hard how naive we to the level of evil and how we've allowed it to creep into our life and into our body. And this is the purification time. And we're purifying ourselves and we're purifying our energy. And it's happening already. But then with that conviction and with that being in the moment and that acute presence, then you're bringing this massive purification where whatever infiltration has happened on any level of your physical, emotional, energetic field, it cannot take hold. It cannot have power over you. It's absolutely cleansed out immediately because the power of this energy, this golden light, the way, our energy, our cosmic forces, and earth energy, alchemy available in our body, and we're taking it back. But we're never going to let ourselves take it back if we're just going to leak it out. And so we're getting our head beat against the wall right now. And it's not fun and it's not pretty, but this is a magical, mystical time because we've got this massive activation at the same time that we've got the sun going over Jupiter, Chiron, and then the sun will go over Jupiter. So that's the first half of April is like more of this fire. Get up and go. This is your last chance. What are you doing? This energy of just like, and it just brings a lot of energy. There's no getting around the energies of anxiety and fear coming up right now as we head into this activation. We have to remember that that's programming to keep us from our power. And that power, when we do allow ourselves to rest in the abundance and the bliss of this energy of our connection, that it feels really good. And so the excitement is very close vibration to the anxiety and fear. We just need to move it over, and remember, no, I already did this in the past life. I already know what I'm doing. And so this first 2 weeks, very powerful. The sun meets up with Chiron. This is the woundedness that has kept us from being who we really are, that has stolen our light, stolen our energy, and no more. This is a personal empowerment. That is on the 6th of April, the same day as the Libra full moon. And that Libra full moon will be sun conjunct Chiron, moon opposite Chiron. So a reflection. It's that hall of mirrors where, like we said, like it's going from this strange energy of, everything is working against us on some level, but they're also showing us facets of parts of ourselves that we've been holding on to that are not really who we are. It's a very powerful time. And so the reflection of this Libra full moon, so is an activation of this. And that's when we really shift into the energy, kind of into that, the Mercury will then move into shadow. So it's a very powerful energy because leading up to the Libra full moon, we have that Mars now in Cancer, in trine to Saturn in Pisces. Now, we've got the warrior ready to fight for the mother and the goddess and come back, bring us back into connection. And then Saturn is like, how to, like the manifest reality and the laws and rules that are based on uncertain terms. And where it's been based, our reality's been based on deceptions, and how we want to bring it back into a reality based on our spiritual truth. And so, but this water trine is mystical, magical opportunities. And the squares and all that stuff that happens to us, we just feel it no matter what. The trines and the sextiles, these positive transits, you need to reach out and grab that and take hold of it. Everything we've been talking about. Grab a hold of the blessings. Use this energy to your advantage. Don't miss this. Mars and Saturn are exactly trine from the 30th to the 31st. But what happens is that Mars and Saturn then come into each of them into a trine with the south node of the moon at 4 degrees Scorpio. And so the energy of this grand water trine of all three of them will be peaking out between now and April 10th. So pretty much the last week of March, first week of April, we're in this watery magic, right? So it's like building a new world based on spiritual truth, getting out of the delusions, rewriting the laws and rules, learning how to manifest and move in a new way. We've got Mars, the warrior, ready to go to battle for the mother to bring us back into connection. And understanding this core value thing is like, oh my God, I mean, who wants to run away and live on a farm right now? So then the South Node in Scorpio, and we haven't heard much from him in a while. And so it's like, but this is the bloom, right? Where the next couple of months are the last couple of months of the nodes in these signs. And you always get this huge bloom of the energy. Did you get the message? So what is the message of the South Node in Scorpio? What's holding us back from moving forward is hidden and secret and powerful. Oh, just like her, right? It's like the secrets of the feminine, which give us depth and meaning and true connection and passion. Like, so it's like our new world needs to be built on truth and passion and conviction and depth and meaning and purpose. And it's the only way to get out of the past. So it's like reclaiming our destiny. Very powerful, just as we shift into this next, let's see, we're going to feel the nodes, Pluto square the nodes, all the way through September. So we're just, May is going to be when that really activates. And so May through September, it's like a massive rearranging of our whole life, our whole path, our whole reality. And this water trine is showing us what it looks like and feels like, asking us to be in the bliss, to receive the bliss. It's like, it's all right there as soon as you know you deserve it. So really powerful times, and look out for a activation for that Libra full moon. I believe on the morning of April 6th, looks like we can do it at the exact time of Thursday, April 6th, potentially. And then after that, this Libra full moon will be the last lunation, it's the first lunation then of the eclipse season. So we have an Aries, second new moon in Aries, and the second new moon in Aries is a solar eclipse. And isn't that interesting? Because the first new moon in Aries, second new moon in Aries, we've had Venus go over Jupiter and Chiron, and then Mercury go over Chiron and Jupiter, and then the sun go over Jupiter, Chiron and Jupiter. Now this in April. So it's this is telling us something. It is a rebirth. It is time to claim your freedom. It is time to start your life in a new way, for all of us. So that Aries solar eclipse happens at 29 degrees, 50 minutes, which is interesting, because the last Aries new moon was at 50 minutes, 0 degrees, 50 minutes. And it's just the very end of Aries, very end. So this is very powerful, and it happens on Thursday, April 20th. in the morning. So there will be, look out for soul group sessions. I'm going to join these two, a set of soul group sessions, one for the solar eclipse on Thursday, April 20th, one for the Scorpio lunar eclipse on Friday, May. So that'll be very potent sessions where we really get an opportunity to use our intuitive skills to get a handle on this massive tectonic plate shifting, redirecting, reimagining, reawakening time that we're in right now. It is so powerful and so intense, and do not waste it. Take this inner fire belly activation, claim back your power from where you've been giving it away, claim back your right to be a co-creator again, to trust yourself, to take care of this sacred gift that you've been gifted because you exist. We've been taking it for granted and we've been giving it away, and we can't do it anymore. Our job here is to demonstrate and to lead the way, simply. And so we take back all of our energy, we take back all of our personal responsibility, and we get on with the story. So thank you so much, Supernova Souls, and please consider being a part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. It's $10 a month. That gets you the Friday video update and monthly Q&A activations, and lots of monthly Q&A sessions, and lots of resources for Supernova Souls. And then the gold membership is $20 a month, and that gets you the Supernova Soul Tribe plus access to the activations and sharing circles. And it's so wonderful to build this energy together and really show up in these powerful and precious moments. So thank you for being here with us. And you're here, you resonate, you're part of the tribe. We're all together regardless of the form that it takes. So thank you so much for being with us and for bringing your energy. And I look forward to connecting with you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.